What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Um, I'm excited. Fought through some discouragement, but we're here. Um, Before we get started, I know you guys see this beautiful artwork back here. That artwork is by my dad. My dad painted this image. It was a replica image from this artist named El Greco. Um, Back in 1986, my dad painted this. I was born in 1985. So this painting is 39 years old and it's been in the family ever since. A couple of years ago, my dad wanted to throw it away and I opposed it and I ended up just taking it and now it's here in the house. So I think it's a pretty cool painting. Um, I think it's a good reminder of what Christ has done for us. And this is not to be silly or cliche or anything like that, but the fact that I'm being honest, I wasn't. I've been like discouraged to even do this podcast. That's like a clear reminder to me, of why I need to do it. So he'll be there for a little bit. Um, Jesus and the cross. I don't even know what to call it, but I know that there's a real name for it. But yeah. So, like I said earlier, man, this podcast, this episode almost didn't happen. I've been sitting here, mic on, lights on, camera rolling, and nothing. Just me staring into space. Like, do I even have anything encouraging to say right now? I don't want to talk out my neck, and I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to record this episode. I've been sitting here thinking maybe it's too much Bible, maybe it's too deep, maybe I'm just tired of pushing myself to sound right, right? Maybe I bit off more than what I can chew, which is I feel like maybe that might be it. Um, but at the end of the day, maybe that's the real story. Um, what do you do when you don't even want to do what you're called to do? And if you ever been discouraged, this one might be for you, man. Um, but here's one thing. That's exactly why I needed to record this. Because the feeling, that heavy, tired, frustrated space that I was in, that's usually where God reminds me, hey, like, I'm not done yet, dude. So if you've been trying to keep your head up, but life keeps knocking you out or giving you those crazy Pacquiao uppercuts, like I said earlier, this episode, it may just be for you. It may be for you. So one thing we don't talk enough about um, when it comes to serving, leading, believing, um, the quitting aspect of it. I know that we preach and speak a lot about perseverance, right? But we rarely admit that sometimes you just don't want to. You're like, God, like, I love you, but I'm running on pure fumes. There's no more gas in this tank. And I've been there. But you keep doing what you're supposed to do, right? You pray, you encourage, you do your best to stay positive, right? But the fire you had at first, it's dim. And when people ask how you're doing, you kind of hit them with the classic, I'm good, but I'm just tired, right? And which to me, that's code for I'm low key falling apart, but trying to stay holy, not lose my salvation. But let me say this, feeling discouraged doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. It means you've been in it, trying, stretching, showing up, and that's not weakness. To me, that's actually evidence of faith. Uh, and I think that goes a long way when you just continue to show up. And the other day I was thinking about how sometimes God doesn't wait for you to be strong before he speaks. And it kind of reminded me of Elijah when he's caused fire down from heaven, and the fire wipes out the prophets of Baal, right? And then one chapter later, he's hiding under a tree asking God to end it all. Like, dude, you just saw God, called on God, God answered, and now you're kind of like hiding under a tree. Like, what's that about, dude? Um, and I just found that to be super interesting. I feel like that's the Bible's version of burnout. But interesting enough, God didn't scold him, right? He sent an angel and said, eat, eat something and rest. And sometimes the most spiritual thing that we can do as believers is take a nap and eat a meal. Sometimes, you don't have to be on fire to be faithful. Um, God's not grading your energy level. He's watching your endurance. And endurance doesn't always look like I don't want to say a spectacle, but endurance doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like just not quitting, which is huge. And even if all you do today is whisper, God, I'm still here, that counts. That's faith in its rawest form. Um, and that's the endurance aspect, right? Like when just feel like giving up, but you don't give up. You endure. And here's what hit me while I was sitting here not wanting to record this because God knows I didn't want to do this. But anywho, God never asked me to perform for him, just to be with him. And sometimes just showing up tired is more honest than showing up pretending. And like, I might not have the hype, the huge energy today, but maybe that's the word somebody needs. Faith doesn't always shout. Sometimes it sighs and it stays still. Um, and you don't need to have it all together to keep going. You just need to keep building, right? The endurance aspect of it. And even if it's slow, and even if you feel small, especially if you feel small, if you read in the Old Testament, the book of Haggai, it's only 2 chapters, but it's an interesting book, because although it's 2 chapters in the book of Haggai, there's other books in the Bible, in the Old Testament, that speaks along the same timeline of when the prophet Haggai spoke. And although it's a short little 2-chapter book that not too many people probably speak about, but Haggai, he's speaking to a group of people who got so discouraged, they stopped rebuilding the temple. And when I say they stopped rebuilding the temple, I mean they stopped rebuilding the temple for 16 years. No work was done. And the foundation of the temple was laid, but opposition, exhaustion, and doubt made them stop. And Haggai shows up like, hey, God's not done. You laid the foundation. Now finish it. Endurance, right? I feel like that's God's word for some of us right now. You've already laid a foundation. Don't let discouragement make you abandon what God already started. That's a big one. So just keep that endurance, and God's got you, man. So, what I've been telling myself, and maybe you need to hear this too, is don't quit on the thing that God started in you. Just because you're tired, sometimes you just got to rest, breathe, and reset. But walking away is never an option. And if all you can do today is whisper, God, I'm still here, that's enough. You're enough. One day you're going to look back and realize that these quiet, discouraged days were actually the days that God built your strength. He was working on you. So make sure you keep showing up, even if it's messy, even if you don't want to, because that's where the real faith lives, and the endurance.